Sure thing.
You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Call the meeting to order. You would stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Kushner, not present. Osborne,
Here.
Latari. Here. Jones,
Here.
Euler.
Here.
Thank you.
Approval of City Council regular minutes dated September 23, 2024.
Move to approve.
Osborne,
Yes.
Latari.
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Adoption of agenda.
Move.
Move to adopt the agenda as presented.
Osborne,
Yes.
Latari.
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
Thank you.
Item number 5, proclamations. Proclamation for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, October 2024. Anybody here that to accept this? Okay, I'll just read it from here. Okay.
Sure.
I'll just read the proclamation from here. Normally, we have somebody would come up front with this. Breast Cancer Awareness Month, October 2024 proclamation. Whereas while considerable progress has been made in the fight against breast cancer, every year breast cancer accounts for about 30% of all new cancer cases in the United States women. And whereas according to the National Breast Cancer Foundation, 1 in 8 women in the United States will be diagnosed with breast cancer in her lifetime. And whereas in 2024, an estimated 310,720 women and 2,800 men will be diagnosed with invasive breast cancer. And whereas throughout the month of October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month aims to promote screening and prevention of the disease. And when caught in its earliest localized stages, the 5-year relative survival rate is 99%. And whereas there are currently over 4 million breast cancer survivors in the United States, and whereas breast cancer awareness can mean different things to different people, and it goes far beyond wearing pink ribbons, it's a chance to show our support to those whose lives have been forever changed by this disease. Now, therefore, I, Bruce D. Euler, Mayor, along with the City Council of the City of Warrensburg, Missouri, do hereby proclaim October 2024 as Breast Cancer Awareness Month. In witness whereof, I hereunto set my hand and seal this 14th day of October 2024. Proclamation for Domestic Violence Awareness Month, October 2024. Is there anyone here to accept this proclamation? Okay. Domestic Violence Awareness Month, October 2024 proclamation. Whereas domestic violence is a prevalent public health problem affecting all communities, regardless of agency, race, gender, socioeconomic status, religion, nationality, or sexual orientation. Whereas over 61 million women and 53 million men have experienced psychological aggression by an intimate partner in their lifetime. And whereas in 1 in 2 women and 1 in 4 men have experienced sexual violence, physical violence, and or stalking by an intimate partner during their lifetime. And whereas 40.3% of children reported exposure to at least one form of family violence over the lifetimes, and 27.7% reported exposure to physical intimate partner violence. And whereas Domestic Violence Awareness and Prevention Month provides the opportunity to enhance education, prevention, and intervention efforts around domestic violence and support organizations that provide advocacy efforts, service, and assistance to victims. Now, therefore, I, Bruce D. Euler, Mayor, along with the City Council of the City of Warrensburg, Missouri, do hereby proclaim October 2024 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. In witness whereof, I hereunto set my hand and seal this 14th day of October 2024. Item 6, a public hearing on an ordinance amending a conditional use permit for land use 18-200 community utility facility and to construct a 90-foot structure in a LI light industrial district located at 300 West Pine Street in the city of Warrensburg, Missouri, presented by Barbara Carroll, Director of Community Development. Thank you, Barbara.
Mayor and City Council, a couple of years ago, the council passed ordinance 5696, which granted a conditional use permit at 300 West Pine Street to Evergy for the construction of a new electrical substation at the southwest corner of the intersection of West Pine Street and Warren Street. They have continued through their development process outlined in your staff report, or several steps they have proceeded through. They have been to the Board of Adjustment and received a variance request in January of 2022. And they have had the property rezoned from heavy industrial to light industrial, and a plat was approved in December of 2022. It has not yet been recorded, but throughout this time, they've been continuing with their engineering and design on the site. And that led them to a point a few months ago where they needed to revise their site plan. And so since the site plan is considered the conditions of a conditional use permit, any major changes to that site plan would need to come back to this body for approval in an amendment to that original conditional use permit. So that's the process that's brought us through to this evening. They have provided a site plan in your packet. In the intervening years, since the original conditional use permit was approved, some of the documents related to this conditional use permit would fall, this is considered critical infrastructure under federal laws, and so more of those records are considered closed records. So the site plan that you have in front of you does not have as much detail as the one you previously saw. They have provided a text description of what the changes are. Primarily, the changes include they have moved the fence that surrounds the property further towards the interior of the property. They have eliminated drainage that would have gone south under the railroad right of way. They're rerouting it around that so as not to have to work with the railroad. Part of the structure has been moved south so that it doesn't encroach into that setback from West Pine Street. There will still be portions, once you include the lightning mast, that are at 90 feet tall. So that did not change. There will still be a separate accessory building, a shelter equipment building. They have moved the driveway entrance that on Pine Street, which used to be on the west end, closer to the east end. That is still a proper safe distance back from the intersection, but primarily moving that driveway is what precipitated staff wanting to bring this back to the city council for their consideration. It is still an unmanned site, and so there would only be employees there at the time. They are doing work on the property, and she stated at the meeting last week in front of Planning and Zoning Commission, the site lighting would only be on if someone is there working, so they would not be on constantly. As this one comes online, the property to the north, that substation will be taken offline and decommissioned. There is a maintenance building on the property that they said might remain. The rest of it would be removed. Staff recommended approval to the Planning and Zoning Commission at their meeting last week. They recommended approval of the conditional use permit, which is both for a community utility facility at that location, as well as a structure that has 90 feet in height. So staff recommends approving the ordinance, which would amend the existing conditional use permit with one condition remaining, and that is that staff is granted the authority to approve the final site plan as part of the building permit process. We hope, though, that it would be very much in line with what you're seeing this evening. We would anticipate it that it will be. I don't know if anybody from Evergy's here.
Good evening,
So-
Jessica Keck with Evergy, 818 South Kansas Avenue, Topeka, Kansas. Barbara covered that very well. We, when we were looking at the site, we noticed we had some drainage that we would have to work with the railroad on to route the drainage. And I don't know if anybody's ever worked with the railroad before, but it was not gonna work out. So we went back and redesigned our site a little bit and tried to squeeze up and get the drainage off of having to access the railroad property. So that's the main changes. The driveway changed basically because the equipment layout changed as well, and that's where the driveway entrances need to be to get the equipment in and out during construction, or if there's, you know, ever a failure or anything that we have to do. Those are the main ones. I wanted to just offer myself, if you have any questions, based on what you guys have and what was covered this evening.
Questions?
May,
Yeah.
may I have the spelling of your last name, please?
KECK.
Thank you.
Do we hold our questions for after the public hearing? Or can we ask them now? Does it matter if we ask our questions now, or should we wait until after the public hearing? Okay. Did you have some? Go ahead if you can.
I think at planning and zoning, there's a maintenance building in the where you have
Yes.
your facilities right now. And so the fencing will likely stay where it is.
Likely, unless there's unless the city wants it removed for some reason, we would likely, if we keep the maintenance building, which it hasn't been determined 100% if we keep the maintenance building. If we keep the maintenance building, we would likely keep the fencing, just for security reasons.
Okay.
But all the equipment, the substation equipment, the structuring stuff will be removed.
Okay. I just wanted that to kind of be part of the record. So if people are thinking that the fence is going to be gone, but your maintenance building is going to be there, people aren't disappointed when the fencing is still there. Not that the fencing is bad, because it's
Right.
not. Okay, thank you.
So where does the drainage go now? Does it somehow go across the street into the big? drainage
It
ditch?
currently
How does it-
goes,
I mean, where will it go? Sorry, after the build, I apologize.
it's gonna go in the same place. It's gonna go around our site on our property.
Okay.
We would have had to, with our original design, because we were closer to our property line,
Mhm.
we would have had to get on railroad right away to
Gotcha.
do our drainage. And that process just wasn't gonna work.
Yeah. Okay. Do you know, will the, sorry,
No. Okay, thanks.
will the transformer itself have about the same footprint? Will it be bigger or smaller? Do you know, as far as the structure itself?
Should be about the same size. It will be quieter. New transformers are quieter than the older ones, so.
I walked by there today. I've driven by it, of course, hundreds of times. I've never actually walked by it. And it does have a very faint hum, but it was quieter than I thought it would be. So it's nice to know it'll be even quieter.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw that sidewalks are gonna be part of this, right? Are those, it says proposed sidewalks. So I just want to confirm that because there are not really any sidewalks there. There's a bit of one along Warren, but there will be now sidewalks along Pine, a sidewalk along Pine. Is that correct?
Yes, the sidewalk along Pine Street's required because of the replat.
Yeah, I just thought that's great news.
That's
'Cause
great news.
It's a footpath. People are definitely using it and it'll be great to have a safe place for folks to walk. Even though I, won't go all the way over to Blind Boom Park, but it's
Good
nice to see
start.
that will be there. Just me being picky in the letter, page 2 under background. It talks about the site plan and then the revised site plan includes the following proposed changes. Point 4. After the words above grade level. Are the words is no longer necessary supposed to be after that? So that we're saying that a 10-foot encroachment is no longer necessary, or is that written as exactly as it should be? And I just made an assumption.
They will not be encroaching the 10 feet into the 10-foot rear setback. The variance was granted and it runs with the land, so they still could do that. But as redesigned, they would not be doing that.
Okay, because the point above it talks about the fact that the other encroachment won't be necessary, and then, so I assume that other 10-foot encroachment won't be necessary, so, okay, I just want to understand.
One is on the Pine Street side and the other is on the south side adjacent to the railroad.
Okay,
So
great.
they're in different locations.
Great. And then just because it's highlighted on the map, I understand this is at 300, but the other, three other plots are highlighted, 315, 317, and then one that's not numbered. Are those involved in this at all?
Yes, all of those are part of this project.
Okay. Okay,
With the replat is recorded, it'll appear as one parcel instead of the existing 4 parcels.
okay, gotcha. Okay, but no plans at this point to build anything on those other parcels, just the transformer on 300? As far
Once
as,
the replat is recorded, 300 will encompass all of that property.
Oh,
So
gotcha.
they're building on all of that property.
gotcha, okay. But as of right now, it's the transformer itself and a maintenance or and service
Well,
shed,
it's the substation equipment,
right?
yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
Inside.
substation, I shouldn't call it a transformer, I'm sorry.
The site plan is for all of that,
Okay,
not just what you're thinking is the corner lot.
right,
It's all 4 parcels will be
Okay.
covered by all of their project.
right. But the actual substation, am I calling it the right thing, the structure is, you're thinking about the same size as what it is now? With-
There'll be structures throughout it's, so the older substation was built to different standards.
Right.
Which means the equipment's closer together.
Yeah, yeah,
We spread it out now.
okay, that's what I didn't understand,
Yeah, so
okay,
clearance requirements and all that.
Okay.
And then honestly, there might be some more capacity in there because the city might need more additional capacity.
yeah, sure,
So it's for clearance issues and then for possible, growth if it's needed in the future.
okay. That's
So
great.
it will encompass everything you see on this, on the site plan that's grayed out, that's our fence line, so everything within that fence line will be there, like we'll have equipment.
Yeah.
Possibly, and it will all be a rock, the whole thing will be a rock pad
Yeah.
that's around it.
Yeah, that's great. And it is so great that you have that property right across that, as the was mentioned several times in the letters and other things, that you don't have to find a new space somewhere else in town. So it's great. Those are all my questions. Thank you.
Any other questions? Well, thank you. We'll close the public hearing then. Item 7, first and second reading ordinance. 7.1, an ordinance amending a conditional use permit for land use 18-200 community utility facility and to construct a 90-foot structure in a LI light industrial district located at 300 West Pine Street in the city of Warrensburg, Missouri. Presented by Barbara Carroll.
Staff would recommend approval.
Okay,
Move the second reading by title only.
Osborne,
Yes.
Latari,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Bueller.
yes,
Used 18.200 community utility facility and to construct a 90-foot structure in an LI light industrial district located at 300 West Pine Street in the city of Warrensburg, Missouri. This is for adoption or rejection. Osborne,
Yes.
Latari,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Bueller.
yes.
Thank you.
From a historical perspective, I thought I'd tell you that corner, I think, was the very first site of our first electrical generating electricity site back around 1900 on that site. Someone remember the old building, but it's
Nice.
interesting. It's still there. So thanks. 7.2, an ordinance approving and accepting the minor plat of Old Drum Landing, a subdivision of the city of Warrensburg, Missouri, located at 122 North Main Street, presented by Barbara Carroll.
This property is just south of the corner, the southwest corner of Colton Street and Main Street. And earlier this year in January, you all approved a replat on the north side of this plat. And also for that, another one to the northwest of it. So Ethan Farrell with Barnwood Heroes Properties LLC has been acquiring several of these parcels and existing parcels and replatting them into lots that meet our current subdivision regulations so that he can build duplexes on them. And this is another property at 122 Main Street that he has acquired. And in July, there is an alley on the north side of this lot that runs from east to west. And that alley was vacated by ordinance of the city council. That was ordinance. Ordinance number. But with that ordinance being recorded, then ordinance 5880 was recorded that vacated the alley. He owns both the north side of it and the south side of it, and with this plat, he will plat all of it into this parcel. That would then make this parcel the proper width to meet our current subdivision requirements, and then he could build, his intent is to build a duplex on it. The property is located in an R4 district, and they have made all of the changes on the minor plat that staff had requested. Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval as presented at their meeting last week, and staff would recommend approval of the ordinance.
Questions? Nope. Nope, okay.
Move to approve ordinance
To second reading,
to second reading by title.
yes, sir. Osborne,
Yes.
Latari,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
An ordinance approving and accepting the minor plat of Old Drum Landing, a subdivision in the city of Warrensburg, Missouri, located at 122 North Main Street. This is for adoption or rejection. Osborne,
Yes.
Latari,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
Thank you.
Partner agreement, LPA, and by Phil Adlich, interim public works director.
Excuse me, Mayor. City Council. So at the beginning of the McGuire project, we went ahead and sent in an application to apply for a grant to help us design the bridges over 50 Highway, McGuire and Holmes Street. At that time, we did save back some of the bond money to pay for this. $1,072,000 to be specific. For this, the state did grant us this design cost share. So we're happy with the council to approve this agreement with Missouri Department of Transportation.
So it's a 50-50?
It is a 50/50.
Okay.
And then I'm trying to find the reference to this, but at some point there was a reference that if there's an overage, the city, the entity, the city would be responsible for any overage. And if it comes in under budget by some miracle, that we would split that with MoDOT. Okay, MoDOT. Just want to be clear.
Questions? More questions? No? Okay,
Motion to approve by second reading.
Osborne,
Yes.
There we go.
Latari.
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Euler.
yes.
An ordinance authorizing local partner agreement, LPA, with Missouri Department of Transportation, MoDOT. This is for adoption or rejection. Osborne,
Yes.
Latari.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
Thank you.
It's great. Whoever was working on the grants, congratulations.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
Big deal. Big deal.
Yeah. Appreciate all the hard work to get that. That's very exciting.
Yeah. Finally see some movement there after, a lot of years of work.
Okay, moving on. 7.4, an ordinance authorizing the execution of a task order for owners' representative services for the McGuire Gateway Design Project, presented by none other than Phil Adlet.
So I'm back up here. This is we're navigating. We are looking to have Navigate come on board and write the request for qualifications for the engineering for gateway design. And Navigate, we signed a master agreement with them last council meeting and proposed that we would like to move forward with that and have them come on board.
And Okay.
Go ahead.
Refresh-
Question?
Just to clarify, we signed a master services agreement with Navigate Administrative, so that it didn't come to council, but each
Oh,
task
sorry.
order for the funding will come to city council.
My
A-
mistake.
And the gateway design is,
The gateway is what we just talked, the cost agreement with the local partner agency
On McGuire.
I'm McGuire.
on McGuire and Fulton Street. So Navigate is going to be writing the request for qualifications
For the bridges,
engineering for
Yeah.
those.
For engineering the
for
bridges,
the
yeah.
engineering
of
bridges.
The bridges. the design of it.
Got it.
May I have Todd's last name, please?
Sweeney, SWE81.
Thank you.
Did you want to
You wanna
tell
say
the city
anything, Todd?
council a little bit about what
What
your
Navigate?
your
Yeah,
firm does for us?
Mayor and City Council, thank you very much for the privilege of standing in front of you and discussing my firm. I'm a co-owner of Navigate Building Solutions. We're an owner representative that exclusively serves public agencies throughout predominantly the state of Missouri. Over the last decade, we've worked with 100 public agencies, over 100, and have put in place over $3 billion of construction for public municipalities and K-12 school districts throughout the state. So this is a wonderful opportunity to expand our role and to serve you in a similar capacity that we've had success doing with other agencies throughout the state. We did and often are engaged on a master service agreement, which is a no-cost administrative document that simply sets out terms and conditions that's reviewed by your attorney, which it was, and then establishes some potential services. Task order 1 and then subsequently task order 2 that you'll also be voting on tonight were a subset of those services that this city felt to utilize to bring best value to your organization in the city. The first one, which is this party, yes, pronounce that correctly. You mentioned very appropriately that there's a certain amount of funds that are being allocated to you by MODA, and your ability to buy the most for those funds is what's critical. Not using all the money doesn't benefit the city. Going over certainly doesn't benefit the city, so you want to be right on. The first step in that is acquiring design services to engineer this. And we do 3 things in particular during this task order. One is compliance. We want to make sure that the RFQs is compliant with state statute and with MODOT requirements, so there's no question that you follow the rules, right? And that's a complicated issue, unfortunately, but all grants, when you get them, come with a little hair, and that's what we need to shave off. The second thing is there's roles and responsibilities. To get the most for the services, what's often done is RFQs are put forth and the engineering teams out there will exclude. They'll suggest that you're going to do certain things. One example of that is a full-time representative during the construction phase. I know that's forward thinking, but if you buy that now and can leverage that, you can start buying some things to include and to maximize the value of the grant if you're included in the RFQ, because it is a buy. It is a large procurement activity, and the only time you have leverage is before they're hired, right? So we want to buy it smart, and we want to make sure you're not exposed to change orders. And then 3, there's that's 2-part. The second part, which is a few $1,000s more, is just to participate in the selection. We don't select or pick. We just want to make sure it's documented and it's transparent. So should you ever be questioned, you're always sitting there going, we got documentation, we did it right, we did it according to statute, it was fair, it was honest, and it represents the community of Warrensburg in an appropriate manner. That's the task order, that's what we do. I'm excited to potentially have the opportunity to work with you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Any questions?
Any questions for me?
Okay.
Mo-
Thanks.
Motion to move to second reading by title only?
Osborne,
Yes.
Latari.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
An ordinance authorizing the execution of a task order for owner's representative services for the McGuire Gateway Design Project. This is for adoption or rejection. Osborne,
Yes.
Latari,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
Thank you.
I have a feeling it's you again.
It is.
All right, 7.5, an ordinance authorizing the execution of a task order for owner's representative services on the wastewater treatment plant improvements project presented by Phil Adledge.
Right, as you hopefully remember, we are going through a plant expansion, a plants, whatever Navigate came in and proposed the RFQ process for the McGuire Street Gateway. we thought that they would be beneficial for also looking over documentation for the plant expansion. And so we have task force for them to look over documentation and CMAR and they listed. I mean, it's a big project. We don't want to let anything slip through. So we'd like to hire them to help us out.
Okay.
If you have any questions for Todd?
Nope, okay.
Move to move that,
Thanks, Brian.
motion to move that ordinance is second reading by title.
Thank you. Osborne,
Yes.
Latari.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Euler.
Yes,
An ordinance authorizing the execution of a task order for owner's representative services on the wastewater treatment plant improvements project. This is for adoption or rejection. Osborne.
Yes.
Latari.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Euler.
yes.
Thank you.
Item 7.6, an ordinance authorizing the city manager and city clerk to execute a contract with EverStrive Solutions LLC for city manager recruitment services presented by Kristen Dorman, interim city manager.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. Before you tonight is a contract for city manager recruitment services with EverStrive Solutions. As you may recall, we went through a request for proposals process for these services. We received 6 proposals from that process, and you all went through with your due diligence and graded all of those and then did interviews with your top firms. And we found that EverStrive Solutions was selected as the best firm for the city's needs on this project. So their proposal is a comprehensive city manager search, which includes stakeholder engagement. So they will work with the city council, the city staff, and community leaders to help find the leader that we're looking for to run this city. They're going to use their network, their extensive national network, to do proactive recruitment for this position, not only for people that are looking for their next gig, but also those that maybe aren't looking, that they can training. So they'll go through and pick out some semi-finalists for you all to interview and then move it on to the finalists for interviews. And then lastly, they will help the city council with doing that offer and contract negotiations, excuse me. So if you have any questions, we do have the 2 awesome people from EverStrive Solutions here to answer any questions you might have on the contract.
Any questions?
None for me.
I don't have any questions.
Thanks for attending though. Did a great presentation, very impressive.
Very clear.
Okay, need a motion, please.
Motion to approve that ordinance,
Second reading.
second reading by title.
Thank you, sir. Osborne,
Yes.
Latari.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Euler.
Yes,
An ordinance authorizing the city manager and city clerk to execute a contract with EverStrive Solutions LLC for city manager recruitment services. This is for adoption or rejection. Osborne.
Yes.
Latari.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Euler.
yes.
Thank you.
Okay, item 7.8, an ordinance authorizing the city manager and city clerk to
7, sorry.
7.7.
Oh,
7.7, sorry. Excuse me.
7.7, an ordinance authorizing city manager and city clerk to execute a contract with Infinitec LLC for network security and managed service provider services presented by Gary Swanson, senior computer technician. Thanks, Gary.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council. Tonight, this ordinance is for approval to go ahead with the agreement with this RFP. There's quite a bit of work that's wrapped up into this. So this is the first thing this will do is replace our current virtualized infrastructure downstairs, our production infrastructure that most of our servers run on a day-to-day basis. It's also going to replace everything that's over at Fire Station 2, which is our disaster recovery site. So it's going to replace all that also. The main thing that's driving this is the systems we put in 5 years ago. They're what's called a hyper-converged infrastructure, so there's no separate storage. It's all built into the current servers. We use VMware for virtualization. VMware has changed its entire licensing structure to a subscription-based licensing structure. So what that means is to provide those licenses is going to be about $50,000 to $60,000 a year versus going this route. We replace all the equipment. We're going to knock that down to under $10,000 a year. So it'll pay for itself in a pretty big hurry. Like production side probably only had another 18 months to 24 months left of life anyway. So it was just money wise, it was a better decision to go ahead and replace that. That will also have there's some monitoring going on there. So Infinitec will monitor all of that equipment 24/7. They will do all the BIOS or firmware software updates for VMware. They will also do all the operating system updates for, so like all the Windows Server updates. They will do all that every month too. So so there's a cost in there for that. Also, our current Wi-Fi infrastructure for the city, we have 27 access points throughout facilities. Those are these access points are coming up on end of life. So this will be moving over from we were under Arrowhide. They got bought out. The company that we're with now is very expensive every year to renew. So we'll be moving over to Aruba Networks. So we'll be moving over to a new provider for that. That pretty much almost every facility has a little bit of Wi-Fi in it across the city. So we're doing all that. We have 3 firewalls at some of our locations, like Massive, WCDB, and I think the cemetery that are up for renewal. They're hitting their end of life. I'll include that work there. We also will be moving from for our antivirus and our managed detection response software. We're going to be moving away from where we buy the licenses for that. We're going to go more under a managed service provider model. So we'll pay for those with Infinitec every month. That should be a little bit of cost savings there because we never know exactly how many licenses we're going to need. Where moving to this model, we just get charged for what we use each month. So there should be a reduction, a little bit of reduction in costs on that. And then we also will have, this kind of firms up, also providing disaster recovery consultation and mediation services. So Infinitec will be providing those also in case we have some kind of catastrophic outage, some kind of cybersecurity issue. This formalizes that. The money, the hourly rates are all set. So in case we need those services we'll pay for on a weekly basis as we go through that process if we ever have to use that. And this it'll also kind of firm up just our general IT support type stuff. If we have to replace a firewall or we need some switch programming done, stuff like that. This formalizes those that hourly rate that we'll pay for the next 5 years. And that's pretty much it in a nutshell. What's included in that. We had 3 bids that were submitted. One went to the wrong email address, so unfortunately we had to reject that. There was 2 that we evaluated. Infinitec was the lowest and best bid out of the 2. Okay. And do you have any questions? We recommend approval. And do you have any questions?
Not really a question, just confirming that they are physically located in Columbia, Missouri.
Yes,
Is that right?
Infinitec.
Yeah.
And the other company that they were in Marshall.
Okay. Got it.
Just right now.
Great. Yeah. And we'll forgive the fact that one of them is an MU grad, that's okay. But rather than from our own university. That's great. It's great to know they're so close.
Any questions? More questions?
No.
Nope. Get a motion, please.
Motion to move to second reading by title only.
Osborne,
Yes.
Latari,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
An ordinance authorizing the city manager and city clerk to execute a contract with Infinitec LLC for network security and managed service provider services. This is for adoption or rejection. Osborne,
Yes.
Latari,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
Thank you.
Gary, I'm glad you're here because that contract was full of technical jargon.
Boy, it
That
was.
There's a lot. This is basically all the work we're doing this year, all wrapped up in the morning.
Yeah,
It was a lot.
yeah, good job. Item 7.8, an ordinance authorizing the city manager and city clerk to execute a signed lease with Shoe Sensation, Inc., presented by Jessica Vinderlo, Management Analyst. Hey, Jessica.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. So the ordinance before you would allow us to execute a sign lease with Shoe Sensation for a panel on the Hawthorne sign. So the city owns the sign that's in the Hawthorne district, and for anyone unfamiliar in the audience, that's off of North McGuire, where like the Marshalls and the Aldi is. And so since we own that sign, we're responsible for maintenance and the consideration of any new lease requests or agreements. So Shoe Sensation has expressed interest in leasing a panel for us. They want to advertise on that sign. So we would receive $600 a year from that agreement. The lease is in your packet for reference, but staff would recommend that the ordinance is approved as presented. And we would then, pending that approval, we move on to the next steps with working with them to get their graphic created and installed on the sign. So I'll stay for any questions. Thank you so much.
No questions for me?
No questions? Thank you, Jessica.
Motion to move to second reading by title only.
Osborne.
Yes.
Latari.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
An ordinance authorizing the city manager and city clerk to execute a signed lease agreement with Shoe Sensation, Inc. This is for adoption or rejection. Osborne.
Yes.
Latari.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
Thank you.
Item 8.1, mayoral appointments. A, reappoint Allison Robbins as a member of the Warrensburg Arts Commission for a 5-year term through October 2029. B, reappoint Aubrey Bender as a member for Energy Sustainability Task Force for a 2-year term through October 2026. C, reappoint Tommy McKinney as a member for Diversity and Inclusion Commission for a 3-year term through October 2027. Appoint Kristen Dorman, interim city manager, as the city of Warrensburg representative on the Pioneer Trails Regional Planning Commission Board of Directors for the term of 2 years effective immediately. And E, appoint Mark Cossage as a member of the Planning and Zoning Commission to fill an unexpired term through April 2027.
I make a motion to approve the appointments as presented.
Thank you.
Osborne.
Yes.
Latari.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
Thank you.
Appearances to the council not listed on the agenda. Thanks, Doug. We have no one.
Okay.
Miscellaneous matters from the mayor and or city council.
I just want to echo what many have already said about our amazing partners, Warrensburg Main Street, and the fantastic job they did for Bergfest this weekend. If you didn't get to go, you missed a fantastic event. And so that brings people downtown, but also, into our community and purchasing things from our own local vendors, and just really appreciate the work that they do as a partner with our community.
Thanks for that. Yeah, thanks very much. And police, fire department, public works. It was a fantastic event this weekend.
Took everybody to make it.
It really did.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
And all the volunteers that helped. We couldn't get it done without the volunteers. So thanks to everybody who participated and helped with the event. It was fantastic. It'll just keep getting better and better every year, I think.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was packed.
Anything else? All right. 11, city staff updates, city staff report, community development.
I have nothing additional beyond the written report.
Okay. City staff report, fire department.
We're in the process of hiring.
Yay.
Yeah.
How is that coming along?
We're doing 6 interviews tomorrow.
Great.
Excellent.
That's going well.
There's a whole back row of people too.
Yeah.
Are those your candidates?
You're already in.
All right.
I actually did want to make a point of saying something in the, about the trash cleanup, how much I appreciate that. And so if folks haven't opened up that document yet, that there's a contact there. If there are community groups that would like to volunteer to help pick up trash, that Tiffany Burr with code enforcement is the person to contact about that. I do often see folks talk about that, and just want to make clear that there is a contact at the city that people can reach out to and provide vests and grabbers and bags and that kind of thing for volunteers who'd like to help clean up.
Thanks. Okay, item 12, closed session. A motion to close part of this meeting pursuant to section 810-021 of the revised statutes of Missouri relating to item 13, individually identifiable personnel records, performance ratings, or records pertaining to employees or applicants for employment.
You need a motion? Oh, yeah,
Yes, yeah.
okay, a motion. I so move.
Osborne,
Yes.
Latari,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
Thank you.
We
Thank
are
you.
adjourned.
We're all the young people in the back.
Did we find out who they, are they UCM? Okay. Oh, Gary might not. Maybe they're a scout troop. Is it a scout troop? Wow, guys, that was very smooth. I'm.
You know, once in a while you get.
What time is it? 7:46. Jim used to like look at the time and like, did we beat our last time? Did we? Although we
We'll
still,
see what happens.
we still have closed session though. Yes, yes, yes.
Gary, thank you.
No, two of those were my scouts, but, I'm sorry about my phone earlier. And Chris, we just talked about this today. That's like my biggest fear is being in a meeting. My phone's like, that didn't happen today.
Well, at least it wasn't chickens. Wow.
No. My mom called.
Oh, well, that's
She
important.
just got out of a rehab place. She took a spill about 3 weeks ago and smashed her head into it. If she would have just fallen down, she would have been fine, but she tried to catch it. Ended up getting a rocking chair.
Oh.
Got her head open and.
Oh, my gosh.
Brain. She's in great now, but 80. So, but she